Hey everybody, it's Brad.
And I'm Claire.
With a Big Family Homestead. And, and caramels are going everywhere.
It's caramels.
By the way, why do we have bags of caramels here?
To be announced.
To be announced. Okay, here's the scoop, folks. Claire has been going through a lot of new big life things, all in a 1 week.
Like 3 days more like.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I figured what we'd be talking about is this process of driving.
Ooh.
Teenager driving.
Ooh.
Stay off the sidewalks, people. So you had to actually take some classes. What was that like? Because some states, it's not a mandatory thing, but here in Wisconsin, it's mandatory that you take a driving class.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of strange at first just because I was the oldest one there. Just because of the process of... I had my temps when we were moving here, but you get your temps and then you take the class in Ohio, but here you take the class generally when you're 15 and a half. And then you get your license at 16. So I had my temps and then we moved here and then they expired, so I had to get them again and wait 6 months instead of just taking the class and getting them right away. So
Tell me how that made you feel on the inside.
It was fine. I was a little disappointed just because I was almost 17 and still didn't have my license, but that was okay.
Stuck around those babyish 15-year-olds.
Oh no, they're good friends now.
Okay.
But
So what was the thing, or if there's more than one thing, that was most stressful the first time you got behind the wheel?
I was learning in the van.
Where did we go? No, it was in Ohio, sister.
Oh no, he took me, when we were in Ohio, Daddy took me to a graveyard.
Cemetery,
same thing. And we took our little Ford Escape. And it was kind of hilly and I was not good at driving at all. I had no experience with driving really any sort of vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, when you live on a farm like we do now, there's tractors and lawn things and stuff that, ATVs and all that kind of thing. So she had actually no idea of what it was going to be like.
Yeah, I had no experience with anything. And then coming here, I've driven tractors and ATVs.
Tractors. I will say this. I remember pretty vividly your first time, and it was no problem. You actually did a great job. But the second time, I don't know what it was, that maybe it was a bad day, but I seriously thought we were going over the hill a couple times because she'd, gun it and then not realize how much force is going to be going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it was it actually was really funny because Mama, Christa, she didn't want to deal with that. She's like, you teach her how to drive. And so it was always this kind of like, Claire's always trying to get you to go driving.
And nobody would want to go with me.
I did. But you made me very stressed out.
Yeah, and so you never want to. So when we came here, I was like, we really need to start driving. It was probably a month before I actually got my license. I'm like, we really need to start driving.
Oh, Claire.
And then he's like, ask your mom. And Mom's like, heck no, I'm not driving with you. So
we both took our turns.
Yes, and then there was just one day it seemed like it clicked.
Yeah, in all honesty, it was only about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, really, that it just was like, yep, I can do this now.
Yeah, and I think honesty, we had a van that she was learning on because our Escape died. She was under the assumption that the Escape was going to be the vehicle, and that was good because it was small.
Yeah, and a smaller, shorter person. I have a smaller stature.
I actually meant the vehicle size.
No, but that's good.
Size.
It's good because I can't reach. I have to move the van seat all the way forward.
Everybody does that.
It's because she's short, people.
That's what I mean.
Krista's over there.
I'm very short.
She's working on homeschooling stuff. But my point was that the van is a harder vehicle to get used to initially.
Yeah.
You can easily go from a van to a small car and have no problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's harder to go from a small car to a big vehicle if it's your first shot.
Yeah.
So, we come to the day. Dun, dun, dun. Tell the story.
Or no, we should tell about how we got the car first. And it was like 2 days before.
Go ahead.
Well, I was driving the van, and we have some friends of ours that they were selling one of their cars. And we were going to, make a deal and we were going to buy that car because they're good friends and we could get it for, a decent price, not super expensive.
Very affordable.
Yeah. And so they were super busy because they're farmers and we're just like, oh, we really need to get this soon. And
it was mostly her.
Okay, come on now.
It's true.
I didn't want to get it on.
You were turbo pressuring us every day, multiple times a day.
Well,
True.
I didn't want to wait until the day of and then have no idea what this car would do and not be used to it and then take it in the van and fail it. And then we get to the day. Okay, let's get to the day.
Oh, you don't want to talk about that part?
No.
Let's just say that we actually had to have a couple talks where it's like, we understand that you really want to do this. You're going to have to take a deep breath and relax because it can't happen right this second. She's better now.
Yeah.
So the day of, Claire. Dun, dun, dun.
I was very nervous. I was fighting it. I was trying to keep my cool, But it didn't work. We got to the DMV and I was like, oh.
They were really nice people there at the DMV.
Yeah.
And unlike in Ohio, we got right in. She made an appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other place, it's check a number.
Yeah, just check a number.
Sit down and there's 50 other people in front of you.
I had to make an appointment about 6 to 8 weeks before to even get a spot. So that was interesting because then my driving instructor kept pressuring everybody. They're like, you need to make an appointment. And I did the day he told us. And then there was some confusion with him wanting to change the appointment. But I said, no, I'm setting this appointment. This is what it's going to be. But anyway.
She's trying to manage the situation.
No, he was trying to manage the situation. Because he's controlling.
When two worlds collide.
Oh, don't even get me started on this guy.
The DMV people were really, really nice. They were professional. The guy was... You didn't realize that he was just super cool until after your test was taken.
Yeah, no, he seemed kind of grumpy, and then after he was just like, congratulations.
He was always not grumpy. She just had it like that. Because I'm sitting back watching, and we're, biting our fingernails. How'd she do? And you couldn't get the car into reverse.
Yeah, no, we had to. Okay, so on the test we have to do a Y turn, right? And so I turn the wheel all the way forward, and then I go to the other side, all the steps. And then I put the car in reverse, and I let off the brake, and it goes forward. And so I hit the brake again, and then I put it in park, put it back in reverse, and then I go back. Nothing. And so I start in my mind, I am freaking out because I did not know what the problem was.
There was no problem with the reverse.
I did everything I was supposed to do and it did not work. And then
I think you didn't put it into the gear all the way.
Well, then I put it in park and I put it in reverse again and it still didn't work. So then I had to put it in park, turn the car off, turn the car back on, put it back in reverse, then it would go.
It wasn't the reverse.
It wasn't me.
So you're feeling the stress. It's building. Now you're like, oh, I've failed.
Yeah, my cheeks were so red, and
You're getting red right now.
I felt so warm. When I get nervous or angry, my face turns red, and I just get so incredibly warm.
You're getting blotchy.
Yeah, it's not good.
She's getting blotchy.
And so then he's just like, no, it's fine. And so we drive back to the DMV, and he just said, okay, pull in park over by next to one of the
He didn't
signs.
give a clue as to whether she had done well or not.
No, he was just stone face. And so I pull into what I thought was one of the parking spots that had a sign, but it wasn't one of the ones that was the sign for the test, and it was next to it, out where people walk.
And she actually didn't park exactly right.
I didn't
She's a little
park
bit
right.
cattywampus.
Because I was so concerned about what was happening before, I just wanted to get it over with.
Just tell me I'm a failure.
And I pulled in, he just goes, no, it's okay. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And we get into the DMV, and he had given no signal as to whether or not I passed or not.
Well, he called us over. He's like, Mom and Dad, come on over here. Let's talk. We got things to deal with.
And
then
they're just looking at me
He
like,
waits.
"Dang."
He goes,
Congratulations. And I'm like, oh.
You were totally.
I was coming out of my skin.
Yeah. And so, okay, advice that a teenager would give on this process to another teenager.
Go slower. I mean, don't rush it. I mean, at the very end, I wanted to get it over with. I didn't want to deal with it anymore, and I just started to go faster than I needed to be. I didn't speed, but I was rushing the process.
That is incredibly insightful for a teenager, I would say, because most teenagers, they don't want to slow down. And I'm not even talking about just in speed. It's really funny. I think that there's a quote, I'm going to really mess it up good, but you'll get the idea, that in one of C.S. Lewis's Narnia books, that he talks about, I think it's Susan, that it's a funny thing that teenage girls are in a rush to get to their 20s, like to be the adult, and then they want to stay in that zone the rest of their life. So it's like a hurried up, get to that spot in life and then stay there. And I think that's kind of funny because there's great times to be had in all stages of life.
I can't wait. Okay, this is going to sound really insensitive, but I'm going to say it because
Here we go.
Once I explain it, it will make sense.
Okay.
I can't wait to be like an older lady, like in 50s and 60s.
Oh, bypassing all this?
No, I mean not bypassing. I can't wait to go through that. And
this is funny. Krista's right there. She's laughing her butt off.
Because I was born an old lady.
She is an old soul.
I was born an old lady, so I can't wait to be in that zone where I've got younger grandkids, and if I'm blessed with grandkids,
cross-stitching.
just living life to the fullest.
I have no idea what you mean right now.
I don't know. It just seems like a good time.
That's funny. So, okay, advice for the teenagers is slow down. Advice from the perspective of mom and dad who've gone through first drivers 3 times now.
Oh.
I'm the best one. That
was Christa moaning again. She wanted to be out of the shot, and now she's begging to get in.
No, I'm not.
Anyway, advice. Okay, her advice might be different than my advice, but my advice is take the kids somewhere where they can't hurt anybody first.
So on a highway. Until
they get used to the gas and the brake, those things, death things, where they can't hurt anybody. And the other thing is try to give as much instruction as opposed to, no, that was wrong, or you did the turn wrong. Tell them what they did wrong or right, but then also why. That's really important, that I think, because when Claire was first starting, she would have a hard time turning into a lane without going into the other lane to cut back in.
Yeah.
And so it was important for her to understand you got to go further out and then turn harder.
Yeah.
To stay in your lane.
Yeah, and I think it's important too because kids are, especially my age kids, they're a why kind of person anyway.
What do you mean?
I mean,
wanting to know why.
I mean, you can tell them anything, and yeah, they might do it, but if they don't understand why they're doing it, they're not going to want to do it, and they won't care. It won't make sense. I
understand that, and actually, I'm that way too.
Yeah, I mean, when Mama gives me an instruction as, okay, go do this, it might sound rude, but I'll ask, okay, why am I doing this?
It's not necessarily trying to push back in a negative way.
Yeah.
It's, I want to understand what it is I'm doing.
Yeah, that way I understand why it's important. Because if it's not important, then I'll be like, well, maybe we could do it this way.
See, this is where she goes wrong. This is where Claire shows her teenagerness. Where she goes, okay, I understand the instruction you've given me, and I don't like your explanation, so I'm going to try and get out of it.
And I think this is a better way, so we should do it my way.
That's exactly the truth, which is so funny.
When you have your kids, you can do it however you want.
She's begging to be in the video.
No, I don't.
But I mean, okay, no, I'm not going to go.
That was accurate. That was an accurate thing.
I mean, because you could also come at it from the perspective of, parents not being open to new ideas. I mean, you could come at it from both sides.
Whoa,
I'm just kidding.
Whoa
Time
is
out.
me.
Flag on the play. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
How old are we?
Flag on
Much
the play.
older.
But you don't know everything.
No.
You had your turn.
Well, and I have something to say about that too. hold a bag of caramels.
No. Okay. We have been doing life longer than you have been. A lot longer than you have been.
Train up a child in the way.
He should go and he
They
will not depart from it. Okay, so... Ran away from you. Mic drop. And we have learned the wrong way to do things. So that's why we teach you what we believe is the right way to do things. So that it makes your life a little easier.
And most teenagers have that thought. You were demonstrating and it's a normal teenager thing.
Yeah.
You guys don't understand. That's what it is. You're old, so you don't understand what we have to deal with. And that's a normal thing for teenagers. It's
Because
finding
we were
out.
never teenagers.
Nope.
No, I'm saying
Skip that.
it is a normal thing. I remember thinking there were times when my mom and dad, they just didn't understand what life is like with computers around you all the time now. Because they didn't have that. They didn't grow up with that.
True.
You know, and it's a normal teenager thing to go, all right, well, you don't get my life. You don't, it's not something you can relate to. But what's really funny, yeah, there's a truck that's pulling in over there. Okay, guys, can we finish the movie?
Not in the video anyway.
All right.
Anyway, I was just teasing.
You were not.
Yes, I was.
No, you were not, Claire.
Yes, I was.
For all of your awesomeness, one thing you do is absolutely try to rationalize and bargain your way out of stuff that you don't want to. And you give us a great reason why. You're like Mary Poppins. Almost perfect in every way. But that one little thing, that's the thing.
That's a sticker. I'm pretty much the whole package, except for that one thing, so.
With definitely a lot of humility in there. True.
Absolutely. It's just, I just need some, I don't know.
You need help? No. Okay, here's the scoop, guys. There's the video for the day. Don't forget to come around on Sunday nights, 7 o'clock Central. We have our live show, and we are going to show and tell, I think, about the get-together and a lot of stuff that you're not going to want to miss out on.
And there's some big surprises.
There are.
Oh, also, check our social media out in the description box.
Okay, have an amazing day, people.